The Department of Personnel and Training, DoPT, successfully implemented the Hon'ble Prime Minister's vision for Induction Training Programme for cutting-edge level government functionaries. To take this a step further, DoPT, with the guidance of Secretary P, has come up with the initiative of blended training program called Comprehensive Online Modified Modules for Induction Training, COMMIT. This video is only a part of COMMIT program conducted by the Department of Personnel and Training, DoPT, for government employees. Some of the course material I felt is so important and informative that I thought I must share this with you, and sharing this only meant for education and knowledge purpose. There is no any other intention lies behind sharing it. I would have shared every unit of the modules as they were so informative, knowledge-oriented and interesting, but I cannot. Because these course materials are designed to train government staff and I am not authorized to do it. Whatever few videos I published is only for the sake of knowledge and its importance. At the end, I would like to say that any person working under DoPT or directly involved and own the COMMIT program find it not suitable may contact me with your details and I shall remove it immediately. Thanks for watching.
Let us start with a scenario. Delhi Development Authority or DDA acquired a piece of land owned by Subhash Chandra during a state of emergency. He received a certificate from the DDA in 1989 informing him that he will be given a plot of land apart from being compensated. However, he did not receive anything as promised. Subsequently, he wrote several letters to DDA requesting to honor its assurance. In the process, nearly 17 years passed. Finally, he filed a Right to Information Rti application with the DDA, requesting inspection of file notings and daily progress made on his application so far. The Delhi Development Authority replied that it would be difficult to locate the file as it was an old record. Can exemption be made on an Rti application on the ground that the record is difficult to locate? Select the correct option and click Submit. In this unit, let us look at some exemptions on Rti applications. By the end of this unit, you will be able to explain exemptions from disclosure of information. Avoid disclosure of information as per Rti if the information is prejudicial to the sovereignty, integrity, security, strategic interest of India, relation with foreign state, or may lead to incitement of an offence, is forbidden by court or tribunal, or may constitute contempt of court, is a breach of privilege of Parliament or Assembly, is in the form of commercial confidence, trade secret, or intellectual property. In the form of fiduciary relationship, is received in confidence from foreign government, is a disclosure that may endanger life or physical safety or identify source of information, impedes the process of investigation, are cabinet papers, and is personal information intruding into privacy of individual with no public interest involved. Click example to view it. In the case of Divya Raghunandan versus Department of Biotechnology, April 13, 2007, the applicant had asked for information about the field trials of genetically modified or GM crops conducted by the Department of Biotechnology to look into the feasibility of growing these crops and to assess their harmful impact, if any, that their toxicity or allergenicity. The seeds of these crops were developed by a multinational company. The DoPT public authority refused to provide the appellant with the required information. The DoPT argued that the findings of the trials could not be disclosed, as it would amount to impinging the commercial secrets of companies. According to Section 8, Clause 1, Subsection D of the Rti Act. Judgment. The Commission in its order held that the information sought concerned the interests of a large number of farmers and other communities. Therefore, such information has to be disclosed in public interest. The Commission further held that the information sought does not concern commercial secrets, as per the terms of Section 8, Clause 1, subsection D of the RTI Act, and is therefore not exempted from disclosure. In the case of George Paul versus BSNL, Appeal 38/ICPB/2006, dated 29/6/2006. The applicant had appeared for a competitive cum qualifying examination conducted by a public authority and wanted information in nature of a copy of his answer scripts as well as the marks obtained by him and marks of other successful candidates. Judgment. The CIC held that the information in the nature of disclosure of the evaluated answer sheets or scripts of examinees cannot be provided to candidates, as there is a fiduciary relationship which exists between the examiner and examinee. The Commission held that this information falls under the exemptions from disclosure provided in Sections 8, Clause 1, subsection E and Section 8, Clause 1, subsection J of the RTI Act 2005. However, the Commission ordered the public authority to disclose the list and marks secured by the other candidates to the applicant. United Bank of Switzerland, or UBS, has released a list of all those Indian customers who have accounts with UBS to the Indian government. A few applicants in India asked the Indian government to release the list to them. However, Indian government denied and stated that they will release only those persons' names who are found to be guilty. In the case of PPK Rana versus CPIO, Delhi Police and AA, Delhi Police Appeal Number CIC/AT/A/2006/00322, dated 11/12/2006. The applicant had asked for a report of the vigilance inquiry, which was instituted against her as an employee of a public authority. The public authority informed her that the information asked could not be provided as per the provision of Section 8, Clause 1, subsection H of the RTI Act, according to which information which would impede the process of investigation cannot be provided. Judgment. The Commission held that Section 8, Clause 1, subsection H of the Act does not prohibit the sharing of information in the form of the concluding part of the vigilance report, and only the gist, the confidential part, could be kept confidential. The CIC ordered that the concluding part of the vigilance report be disclosed to the appellant. To know the educational qualification of the wife of an MLA. RTI application can be rejected if no material information is sought or if the query is not covered by the definition of information, if it is information which attracts Copyright Act, if the information is so voluminous that it would disproportionately divert resources, if the safety or security of the document is in jeopardy, and if it attracts the provision of Section 24, Clause 4. However, public interest shall override exemption clauses. Click example to view it. An applicant had applied for information regarding the merit list for selection of candidates to a particular post in the university. However, the information regarding this was contained in some document, which also contained some copyright information, which was exempted from disclosure as per the RTI Act. But no proper information was supplied to the applicant due to negligence of the university's PIO in identifying and collecting the proper information. Judgment. The Commission held that The university should streamline its university record management system in such a manner that information which is to be disclosed could be easily provided after separating information that is exempted as per Section 10, Clause 1 of the Rti Act. An applicant asks for a manuscript written by the Nizam. As the requested manuscript is brittle and touching it will cause it to tear, the PIO can reject the request. United Bank of Switzerland, or UBS, has released a list of all those Indian customers who have accounts with UBS to the Indian government. A few applicants in India asked the Indian government to release the list to them. However, Indian government denied and stated that they will release only those persons' names who are found to be guilty. If some information is sought by a citizen, first check whether the information is exempted. If it is not exempted by any exemption clause, disclose the information. If the information sought is exempted, check if the exemption belongs to absolute exemption as in Section 9, such as copyright or qualified exemption as in Section 8. If the exemption is absolute exemption, withhold the information right away. In case of qualified exemption, check whether there is public interest in disclosure or exemption. If there is public interest in disclosure, disclose the information even if the information sought is part of the exemption clause. If there is public interest in exemption, then withhold the information. Note that part information may be provided, severing the exempted portion. Let's look at an example. In the case of George Paul versus BSNL, appeal number 38/ICPB/2006 dated 29/6/2006, the applicant had appealed for a competitive qualifying examination conducted by a public authority and wanted information in nature of a copy of his answer scripts, as well as the marks obtained by him and marks of other successful candidates. The CIC held that the information in nature of disclosure of the evaluated answer sheets or scripts of examinees cannot be provided to the candidates, as there is a fiduciary relationship which exists between the examiner and examinee. The Commission held that this information falls under the exemptions from disclosure provided in Sections 8, Clause 1, Subclause E, and 8, Clause 1, Subclause J, Subclause I of the Rti Act 2005. However, the Commission ordered the public authority to disclose the list and marks secured of the other candidates to the applicant. Let's now take up an activity. Read the given case study and select the correct option. Let us now recap the key points of the unit. In this unit, you have learnt that you are exempted from providing information if the information is prejudicial to the sovereignty, integrity, security, strategic interest of India, relating to foreign state or may lead to incitement of an offence and is forbidden by court or tribunal or may constitute contempt of court.